Most people don't realize that the smallest, most ordinary habits can silently take years off their lives. It's not always the obvious dangers that get us. It's the ones we overlook, the ones that blend so well into our routine that we never question them. You wake up, grab a cup of coffee, scroll through your phone, sit for hours, and repeat. It feels normal, harmless even. But what if these tiny, seemingly innocent actions were slowly shortening your lifespan? Imagine this. You see an old friend after years, and they look 10 years younger than you expected. You wonder, what's their secret? The truth is, longevity isn't just about genetics. It's deeply tied to your daily habits. Scientists have found that nearly 40% of premature deaths are linked to lifestyle choices rather than genetic factors. In other words, how you live determines how long you live. One of the worst habits people fall into is neglecting movement. Sitting too much, avoiding physical activity, or just assuming, "I'll do it later," can slowly damage your health. Studies have shown that sitting for more than 8 hours a day can be just as harmful as smoking. Yes, you read that right. A sedentary lifestyle can be as deadly as smoking. Dr. James Levine, a leading researcher on metabolism, once said, "Sitting is the new smoking." But it's not just about exercise. It's about what you do with your mind. Stress, negative thinking, and constantly being in a rush without taking moments to breathe can accelerate aging. Harvard researchers discovered that chronic stress actually shrinks the brain over time, leading to cognitive decline and a shorter lifespan. You might think, "I don't have time to relax," but the truth is, you don't have time not to. What makes these habits so dangerous is that they don't show immediate consequences. You don't feel the damage today or tomorrow, but over years, they add up, taking small pieces of your health, your energy, and eventually, your time. And time is the one thing you can never get back. It's easy to assume that the biggest threats to our health come from accidents, diseases, or genetics. But in reality, the most dangerous habits are the ones we repeat every single day without a second thought. The food we eat, the way we sleep, how we handle emotions. These small decisions shape our future more than we realize. And often, by the time we notice their effects, it's too late to undo the damage. Think about it. When was the last time you really paid attention to what you eat? Not just in terms of calories, but the actual quality of the food? The modern diet has become a slow poison, packed with ultra-processed foods, artificial chemicals, and hidden sugars that silently wreak havoc on the body. Research from the National Institutes of Health found that people who consume highly processed foods tend to eat 500 more calories per day without realizing it, leading to gradual weight gain, inflammation, and a shorter lifespan. It's not just about gaining weight. It's about how these foods age your cells, damage your metabolism, and increase the risk of diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and even dementia. The famous philosopher Hippocrates once said, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." But today, we flip that wisdom upside down. Instead of using food as a source of healing, many people treat it as entertainment or convenience, consuming whatever is quick, cheap, and addictive. And big industries are happy to keep it that way. The truth is, food companies design their products to keep you hooked. The combination of sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats activates the brain's reward system, making these foods feel impossible to resist. They don't just harm your body, they rewire your brain to crave more, trapping you in a cycle of poor eating. But food isn't the only hidden danger. Sleep deprivation is another silent killer that many people ignore. In today's fast-paced world, many wear lack of sleep like a badge of honor, believing that productivity matters more than rest. But the science is clear. Chronic sleep deprivation doesn't just make you tired, it ages you faster, weakens your immune system, and shortens your lifespan. Studies show that getting fewer than 6 hours of sleep per night increases the risk of early death by 12%. And yet, millions of people sacrifice sleep for work, entertainment, or simply out of habit. Sleep is when the body repairs itself, flushing out toxins from the brain, restoring energy, and strengthening the heart. Without it, everything slowly starts to break down. Dr. Matthew Walker, a leading neuroscientist on sleep, put it best: the shorter your sleep, the shorter your life. Yet, instead of prioritizing rest, many people stay up late glued to screens, consuming endless social media, news, and entertainment. The blue light from phones and TVs disrupts the body's natural sleep cycle, making it harder to fall into deep, restorative rest. Over time, this takes years off your life without you even realizing it. But perhaps the most underestimated habit that steals time from your life is bottling up emotions. We often believe that ignoring our feelings makes us strong, that pushing through pain without expressing it is the right thing to do. But research has shown that suppressing emotions increases stress levels, weakens the immune system, and even leads to heart disease. Studies have found that people who regularly suppress their emotions have a 30% higher risk of early death. Why? Because emotional pain, when left unprocessed, manifests physically. Anxiety, depression, and unresolved trauma slowly take a toll on the body, leading to chronic illnesses. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to age faster than others? It's not just genetics, it's the weight of unspoken emotions. Those who learn to release stress, express their emotions, and find healthy ways to cope tend to live longer, healthier lives. In the words of the great psychologist Carl Jung, what you resist persists. The more you bury your pain, the stronger it grows, silently affecting your health in ways you don't even realize. The scariest part? These dangerous habits don't feel dangerous in the moment. They feel normal, routine, even necessary. That's why they are so deadly, because we don't question them until the damage is done, and by then, it may already be too late. Aging is inevitable, but how you age is a choice. Every single day, your habits are either adding years to your life or stealing them away. And two of the biggest silent killers? A sedentary lifestyle and mental stagnation. They don't strike suddenly like a heart attack or an accident, but their effects creep up over time, weakening your body, dulling your mind, and accelerating aging in ways most people don't even notice until it's too late. Have you ever seen someone who seems to lose energy and vitality as they get older? It's not just because of aging itself, it's because they've stopped moving. The human body is designed for movement. Your muscles, bones, heart, and brain thrive on activity. But in today's world, more and more people are living sedentary lives, sitting for hours at a desk, on the couch, or in a car, barely moving except for short walks to the kitchen or bathroom. Studies show that sitting for more than 6 hours a day can cut years off your lifespan by increasing the risk of obesity, heart disease, diabetes, and even cancer. But it's not just about weight gain. Lack of movement leads to muscle loss and joint stiffness, making everyday tasks harder and reducing mobility over time. And here's something most people don't realize. Muscle loss is directly linked to a shorter lifespan. A study from UCLA found that older adults with higher muscle mass live significantly longer than those with lower muscle mass. Why? Because muscle strength keeps you independent, active, and resilient. The moment you stop moving, your body begins breaking down. Famous author Haruki Murakami once wrote, "When I run, my body runs. When I stop, my body stops." The same applies to life. The moment you stop being active, your body starts to shut down. And yet, millions of people choose comfort over movement every day. They say, "I'm too tired. I'll start next week," or "I don't have time." But the truth is, movement is not optional. It's survival. The simple act of walking, stretching, or even standing up regularly can add years to your life. But the dangers of inactivity don't stop with the body. Your mind also needs exercise. Many people think of aging as a time to slow down, relax, and do less. But when the mind is not challenged, it starts to deteriorate. This is why so many people experience memory loss, confusion, and cognitive decline as they age. Not because their brain is getting old, but because they stopped using it. Albert Einstein once said, "Once you stop learning, you start dying." And he was right. Studies have shown that continuous learning and mental stimulation can prevent diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia by keeping the brain active and engaged. Reading, learning new skills, solving puzzles, or even engaging in deep conversations. These things keep the brain young. But many people spend their later years doing the opposite, watching mindless TV, repeating the same daily routine, and avoiding anything that challenges their thinking. Even worse, many people fall into the trap of negative thinking and isolation. They start believing that their best years are behind them, that it's too late to change, that life has already been decided. But this kind of mindset is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The mind and body are deeply connected. If you believe you are too old to grow, learn, or improve, your body will follow that belief and start shutting down. In many cultures, elderly people are treated as wise, valuable members of society. They continue learning, teaching, and contributing. But in others, aging is seen as a decline, a time to retreat and fade away. Which do you think leads to a longer, healthier life? The truth is, age is not what makes you old. It's stagnation. The greatest tragedy isn't dying early. It's spending years alive but not truly living. The good news? It's never too late to change. You can start moving more, feeding your brain, and breaking free from the patterns that are silently stealing your time. Because every day you continue these bad habits, you are making a choice between a longer, healthier future or a slow, unnoticed decline. There's an old saying, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. But what if something invisible was draining both your years and the quality of your life? What if something you don't even see was cutting years off your lifespan without you realizing it? That something is stress, and it is one of the most dangerous, underestimated killers of modern life. Many people think of stress as a mental burden, something that just makes them feel overwhelmed or exhausted. But stress is not just an emotion. It is a physical force that impacts every cell in your body. Chronic stress triggers the release of cortisol, a hormone that, in small amounts, helps you react to danger. But when stress is constant, cortisol becomes a silent poison, damaging your heart, weakening your immune system, accelerating aging, and even shrinking your brain. A study by the University of California found that chronic stress shortens telomeres, the protective caps at the end of your DNA strands. Shorter telomeres mean faster aging and a higher risk of diseases like cancer, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. In other words, long-term stress doesn't just make you feel bad, it is literally cutting years off your life. But what causes stress? It's not just work, finances, or health concerns. One of the biggest sources of stress is something most people don't think about until it's too late: toxic relationships. The people you surround yourself with can add or take years off your life. Take a moment and ask yourself, do the people in your life bring you peace or drain your energy? Are you constantly surrounded by negativity, criticism, or people who make you feel unworthy? If so, your relationships could be shaving years off your lifespan without you even knowing it. Science backs this up. A Harvard study that followed people for 80 years found that the quality of your relationships is one of the biggest predictors of how long you will live. It's not wealth, not fame, not even diet or exercise alone. It's the people you spend your time with. Those who had strong, positive relationships lived longer, healthier lives, while those surrounded by conflict and loneliness aged faster and died earlier. Toxic relationships, whether with a partner, a family member, or even a so-called friend, keep your body in a state of chronic stress. They fill your mind with negativity, keep you emotionally exhausted, and drain the joy out of life. Over time, this weakens your immune system, increases inflammation, and makes you more susceptible to heart disease, strokes, and even cancer. On the other hand, healthy, loving relationships act as medicine. Laughter, affection, and deep conversations release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and even strengthens the heart. Being around positive, uplifting people is one of the most powerful ways to increase your lifespan. But what if you're alone? Loneliness is just as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases your risk of death by nearly 30%. Many elderly people suffer from loneliness without even realizing its impact on their health. The lack of social connection can lead to depression, cognitive decline, and a weakened immune system. But here's the truth. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. Some people have 100 shallow connections, yet feel empty, while others have just one or two deep, meaningful relationships and feel fulfilled. The key is to prioritize quality over quantity. Nurture real, genuine connections with people who uplift and support you. Emotional neglect, the silent thief of time. The final hidden danger that could be stealing years from your life is something few people talk about: emotional neglect. Ignoring your own feelings, suppressing pain, and refusing to heal from the past. Many people, especially as they get older, carry unresolved pain, regrets, and emotional wounds that they never deal with. They push their emotions aside, thinking, "It's too late to change," or "I just need to be strong." But buried emotions don't disappear. They show up in the body as chronic pain, anxiety, depression, and even illness. Dr. Gabor Mate, a world-renowned expert on the connection between emotions and health, states, "When we suppress our emotions, we don't get rid of them. They get stored in the body, where they manifest as disease." Think about that for a moment. How much emotional weight are you carrying? Are there past regrets, betrayals, or disappointments that you've never healed from? Ignoring them doesn't make them go away. Over time, emotional pain turns into physical illness. But here's the good news. It's never too late to start healing. Forgive, not for them, but for yourself. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Express your emotions. Whether through journaling, talking to a friend, or even seeking therapy, acknowledging your emotions is the first step to letting them go. Prioritize joy. Life is not just about avoiding death, it's about truly living. Find small things that bring you happiness every day. Final thought, the power to change is in your hands. No one wants to wake up one day and realize that they wasted years on stress, toxic people, and emotional burdens. But unfortunately, that's exactly what happens to millions of people. The habits that are shortening your life are not always obvious. They don't come with warning signs or alarms. They are silent, creeping forces that slowly chip away at your time on this earth. But now, you know the truth. You have the power to change. You don't have to accept stress, toxic relationships, or emotional neglect as part of life. You can choose to move, to grow, to surround yourself with love and positivity. At the end of the day, longevity is not just about avoiding death. It's about embracing life. And the choices you make today will determine the quality of the years ahead. The question is, what will you choose?